We are Candor Talk Live, the new progressive raw talk show discussing current hot political and social topics. The host is Dicey, www.candortalk.com.
Well, I'm not a crook.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Candor Talk Live, and this is the Saturday show. So, let me just say a couple preliminary things before I get into it. First, I'm going to change the format of this Saturday shows to basically two topics. One is going to be basically the rundown of Trump's previous week. And then the second one, I'm just going to talk about a social topic, and that section is going to be called How America. So anyway, let me just get right into it. Trump has had a horrific week, and that's to be expected because he's had horrific weeks since he became somebody who occupied the White House. But this week, I feel like it started to show me that I think he doesn't really want to be president. I think he enjoys the title and the idea of being the president, but I don't think he has any intentions of governing, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and slowly but surely he's getting exposed as a fraud and a con artist, because we all know that he just basically lied his way to the presidency. None of the stuff that he was telling people did he have any intentions of fulfilling. He's constantly wavering on all his positions, and if you go back to the time when he wasn't running for president, a lot of the things that he's telling you now that he believes in, that's not what he was saying on these videos. You can't convince a Trump supporter, though, that he's actually a complete and total fraud and con artist. You'll never be able to convince them of that because it doesn't matter what he says or does. They're in a cult, and they're never going to believe otherwise. But nevertheless, I'm still going to continue to do these videos because I'm not doing them necessarily for them. I hope that at some point I can persuade some of them to abandon this cult. But that's not really the purpose of me doing it. The purpose of me doing these shows is because I want to be able to get out how I feel about current topics. I feel like, like I said in one of the shows, the mainstream media is constantly, the mainstream media just constantly, the way that they present the issues is not something that basically satisfies the way that I view these issues. I need to be able to say these things the way that I feel that they are. So anyway, that was some preliminary stuff. So just to understand real quickly, the shows are going to be two segments. I mean, I do shows throughout the week now, so it's like there's no point in doing these drawn-out shows on Saturdays. So I'm going to be basically doing two segments. So anyway, let's talk about Donald Trump's horrific week. Okay, first there's the situation in Puerto Rico where he's done a completely inept job saving the people of Puerto Rico after the horrible hurricanes they've suffered. And he's gotten called out consistently by the mainstream media, by everybody essentially. But everybody's basically been calling him out. So that's something that's been happening to him frequently on that level because he's done such a terrible job. And he's constantly saying that he's going to give them, our thoughts and prayers are with them. Hello, you idiotic fool. You're the president of the United States. You don't just need to give them your thoughts and prayers. You need to do something. Why don't you act? I mean, it's just embarrassing that this guy continues to say thoughts and prayers while everyone knows that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And people are literally dying. And when they say dying, they're not saying that they're dead. There's a big difference. When someone has stage 4 cancer and they come and tell you that they're dying, that doesn't mean that they're already dead. When they're saying they're dying, like the mayor said, it's a continuum. If people don't eat in 10 days, sooner or later, they're eventually going to die, most likely. There's no water and food and stuff like that, and eventually people are going to die. So he did a horrible job in Puerto Rico. But then what he decides to do, because it's not like he already wasn't being a complete fool the entire time in reference to Puerto Rico. He decides, and when he's in front of a Spanish audience, to do this inauthentic Puerto Rican accent and saying Puerto Rico in an inappropriate way. So I'm going to play this clip for you so you can hear exactly what he said here, because I thought it was embarrassing.
We are also praying for the people of Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. And we also love Puerto Rico.
So we love Puerto Rico. Who the fuck says that? Who says Puerto Rico? I've never even heard a Puerto Rican person ever say that. Then we also love Puerto Rico, is what he said. So Excuse me. Are you claiming that first of all, are you claiming that these are two different things? I mean, we know that you're unable to say things appropriately, but are you trying to claim that these are two different places? This Puerto Rico or whatever that is. I don't even know where that is. Where is Puerto Rico? I've never heard of that. I know there's a Puerto Rico, but I don't know of a Puerto Rico. But I think he was trying to somehow appease the Hispanic population by insulting them. So that was something that happened this week that I thought was completely ridiculous. Trump is always ridiculous. So there's no reason why that I should be confused about him doing something like that. Then, of course, we have the Tillerson situation, right? So if you've been paying attention, there's an allegation out there that Tillerson called Donald Trump a moron. Okay, and actually he didn't just call him a moron, he called him a fucking moron. And I'm going to play this clip right after I say a few things, and that kind of explains that. But after Tillerson essentially called him a moron, which we all know he called him a moron because he's never refuted that he called him a moron. He's never said, I didn't call him this, or this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm actually appalled that you would even accuse me of something like this. He didn't do that, right? So he refuted other things, but he didn't refute that. So I think we can all safely say that he called him a moron, which is something that is indisputable. He is a complete moron. Absolutely, unequivocally a moron. He's one of the dumbest people we have ever seen. That is a fact. And anybody who comes out there and says that that's not true, then you're probably dumb too. Because stupidity typically has a way of knowing stupidity. But anyway, let me play this clip that basically kind of explains a little bit more about what happened with the Trump and Tillerson situation. Here it is.
Obvious pushback here that the State Department foreshadowed, yet a dozen sources are telling us, no, there is real tension between these two.
Pushback, but he didn't deny it. And I'll tell you, my source,
didn't
and that's
deny the
only
moron
single
piece,
source
right?
for me. My source didn't just say that he called him a moron. He said an effing moron. And think about, put it into context. This was after the president was talking about a strategy in Afghanistan, comparing it to the renovations of the 21 Club. But it also speaks to the fact that Rex Tillerson within the White House is kind of a man standing alone. While he is very close with General Mattis, and you saw Rex Tillerson say it, he talks to Mattis every day. Within the White House, there is a lot of bad blood. That's a guy who travels alone, who is a thin staff. We know he's had a very tense relationship in the past with Jared Kushner, and he hasn't made a lot of friends there. And, note how he felt about the president's remarks at the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts mean everything to Rex Tillerson. His father ran the organization.
Right.
Rex Tillerson ran the organization. This year, they built a statue in Rex's honor. Before I was here, when I worked at Bloomberg TV and we covered business, Rex Tillerson, as CEO of Exxon, did more interviews with the Boy Scouts of America than he did with business journalists. So when the president was so flip and spoke in such a way to the Boy Scouts of America, that affected Tillerson.
Okay, so basically, Tillerson just doesn't like Trump anymore. Trump doesn't like Tillerson. Trump is trying to pretend, even though he's trying to put on this good face about the whole situation and act like everything is just perfectly fine between the two of them. We all know that's a farce. NBC is actually reporting that Rex Tillerson was summoned to the White House after this controversy broke out, the Moron Gate. Once Moron Gate broke, Donald Trump went out there like he always does and tried to present this public face and create this perception of everything being okay. But then he goes and summons Tillerson to the White House, which in my opinion means that Trump knows that he has to either get rid of Tillerson or he has to get Tillerson to come out and say an apology or something like that because it makes Trump look completely stupid. And that's just humiliating. That's a bad thing when your Secretary of State, somebody you appointed, somebody you hired, thinks you are a moron. That is not a good thing. And the thing about it is that while I don't think Rex Tillerson has been effective, and as I said in one of my other shows, I do not think he's been effective. But even though I don't think he's been effective, I think it's hilarious that he, as Trump's subordinate, called his own boss a fucking moron. And his boss really is powerless to do anything about it right now. But there is some allegations out there from Axios, which is basically saying that Trump is fuming about being called a moron, and he's looking to replace Tillerson with Mike Pompeo. If he does that, then he's got to find somebody to replace Pompeo. And look at his cabinet. I mean, look at the federal government. It's like ghost town. Nobody wants to work there. He's firing people left, right, and center. Nobody wants to stick around. You get rid of Tillerson, then you have to find somebody to and you replace him, with Mike Pompeo, you're going to have to find somebody to replace Pompeo. Who the hell wants to work with Donald Trump? That is the end of times if you work with it. Like, your reputation is ruined. All these people are ruined. Sean Spicer is a joke. There's nobody who will take Sean Spicer seriously. Maybe some of these institutions will bring him in to talk because he had some inside information on Trump. But he's a joke. 99.999% of Americans think he's a joke. So he's ruined. There's nobody who's actually worked with Trump or worked under Trump who did that voluntarily, who is not ruined, basically, if they ended up leaving or they aren't like Steve Bannon. So this whole situation is just not a good situation for Trump. It's not a good look for Trump, the fact that he can't control his own subordinates and that his own subordinates think he's stupid. Can you imagine working for someone you think is stupid? I mean, I said that before on one of my other shows, but can you imagine working for someone you think is stupid? If you think he's stupid, that means you think you're smarter than he is. And that's embarrassing if I'm Trump. So that was one thing. Then we have the birth control situation, where he decides all of a sudden and arbitrarily that he's going to roll back these protections for women that get birth control. So I'm going to play this clip that's going to give you a little bit of information about what he actually did, and then I'll talk about it after that. Here it is.
It's a move that could impact millions of American women. The Trump administration is rolling back an Obamacare mandate requiring insurance coverage for contraception. The White House said, effective immediately, a new rule allows employers to refuse contraception coverage based on religious or moral reasons.
This is a president who supports the First Amendment, supports the freedom of religion. I don't understand why that should be an issue.
The American Civil Liberties Union was quick to respond. It filed a suit in San Francisco saying the rule violates the separation of church and state and discriminates against women. But while the courts may exempt some employers from providing contraceptive coverage, their workers might still get it anyway.
Really, they put a duty on the government to step up to the plate to provide some way for, the people who potentially stand to lose, for them to get that coverage.
In another gesture to the religious right, Attorney General Jeff Sessions issued a number of broad guidelines aimed at protecting religious freedom. One says religious organizations should be able to hire workers whose religious beliefs are consistent with theirs. Critics say that could allow some employers to discriminate against the LGBT.
Okay, that's another horrific thing from Trump's presidency, but nevertheless, he decides after he's having basically a horrific presidency to go after the greatest population in this country, which are women. And honestly, he's not just affecting women, he's also affecting men, because now you're going to have these men that didn't want to have these babies, especially like Republicans who are out here having mistresses everywhere, because we all know they have a whole host of mistresses everywhere. Okay, so now he's going to basically make those individuals have to make their mistresses not have birth control? That wasn't a good look. That was stupid. And that brought the ire of so many women. And that was just dumb, because I feel like that's now going to affect what's going to happen in 2018. So it's like Trump has no control. He just doesn't know how to do something that makes sense. He does things that are so erratic and impulsive and just ridiculous. And now this is one of those situations that's going to come back and haunt him, because now you've gone against a population of people that actually have the power to do something. And so that was another horrific thing that happened to him this week. And then now, another thing that happened. This happened, I guess, today. I mean, I can't see Trump's tweets because he's blocked me on Twitter. I mean, I can see them when I go to a news site that posted them or something like that. Or if I'm or someone posts an image of it somewhere, I can see them. But I can't see them if I go with my own Twitter account, because he blocked me like a coward. So, which I find to be so fulfilling, I should say. Okay, but anyway, allegedly now he's fighting with late night show hosts because they make fun of him 24/7 because he's a joke, and he gives them so much material every single week. Maybe if he stopped being such a complete and utter joke, then people wouldn't be making fun of him consistently. But the thing is, late night hosts literally are talking about him all the time, and the reason why they talk about him all the time is because, like I said, he gives them so much material. And also, if you have a platform where you can actually speak out about the things that are going on, you have to do that. I think you have a moral responsibility to do so. I think it's immoral to just let this guy continue doing stuff, either because you're afraid or because, you want ratings, or you feel like you're going to get backlash, like what people claim the NFL is getting, because you don't want to, anger Trump supporters. I feel like it's just really ridiculous for people to continue to do that. Trump supporters are not vast, okay? They're just not vast. But anyway, here is the response. Basically, this is what happened. And here's a response from late night show hosts, which I think is pretty funny. Oh, a couple of them responded, and here's what happened.
Late night talk show hosts Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers responded to Donald Trump's complaints on Saturday over jokes made at his administration's expense. The president's comments were part of a series of tweets against the media, accusing them of one-sided coverage against Republicans. In response, Kimmel wrote Saturday, "Excellent point, Mr. President. You should quit that boring job. I'll let you have my show all to yourself. #MAGA. Myers himself also wrote to Trump on Twitter, "We'd love to have you. Studio located at 15 Penguin Avenue, Antarctica."
I think that tweet was so funny. He's basically they're just trolling him because he deserves to be trolled. And so the thing is, he goes after late night show hosts, and then late night show hosts come back at him. Because honestly, the truth is he's a joke. Nobody really takes him seriously except for maybe his supporters. The rest of the world has started to realize that he's just an imbecile. So the thing is, it's like when he says these things, he doesn't have the power anymore that he thought he did. He's not effective anymore. It's like you can continue to keep fighting with people, but you're losing support. You're hemorrhaging support consistently. So keep the fight on. Good for you. Congratulations, but you look like a fool. Seriously, and they're making you look like a fool. And the thing is, before it would be kind of controversial to go after the President of the United States in the manner that I think everybody does. He pretty much has no networks anymore that support him because he's bombastic. He's so uncontrolled. He's so erratic. Like I always say that, though, but he's so erratic. He's so inept. I mean, this guy is so uneducated. He's so unsophisticated. There's so many reasons why people go after him. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of restraint these people in the mainstream media have to use because they're not allowed to say the kind of things I'm allowed to say. My show is free, independent. I can say whatever I want. Nobody sponsors me. I'm not asking for sponsorships. I'm not, trying to solicit money. I'm doing this because I want to do it. I feel like it's important and imperative to just voice my opinion on these issues. And also give a perspective that I don't think is being given. I feel like everyone has their own perspective on things, and then there's the media that pushes their own perspective. And I feel like there's a lot of times they don't go far enough. I want them to go farther than what they're saying. I want them to say that his week was horrific because we know it was. So he's fighting with the late night show host, and then they come back at him and they basically drag him and make him embarrassed. Like, it's so funny. Jimmy Kimmel's like, "Yeah, quit that boring job." It's like, I'm sure everybody wants him to quit. Like, just quit. We know you don't want to be there. You don't like it. He just doesn't want to look like a failure or somebody who you're already a failure. We already know that. You have failed at every single thing you've ever done. Would you like me to list some of the things? Trump vodka, where's that? Trump water, where's that? Trump magazine, where's that? Trump game, where's that? Trump mortgage, where is it at? Trump airlines, where's that? Trump shuttle. We can go on and on and on and on about the failures. Okay, so we already know you're a failure. We know you're indebted right now to Russia because your son actually admitted that. When you weren't running for president, they went and said that you get most of your money from Russia. You think that any of us are fooled, that we just forget the things that you guys say? Or are you guys too stupid that you consistently say things that you shouldn't say and that aren't true? Could be a combination of both. But anyway, then there was a report that came out that basically 24% of Americans believe the country is headed in the right direction. That was also posted on the Axios article. 24%. Of the population, 24%. That is 1 in 4 people, basically, think the country is going in the right direction. It's shocking to me it's even 24%. How the hell is it 24%? I mean, who are these 24% of the people who think the country is going in the right direction? What has he done for you? What has he done for the country? What has he done to make this place a better place? What has he done? If you can outline some of the things that he's done to make this place a better place, I will completely agree that these 1 in 4 people are probably accurate. But he's a complete and total joke. He's done nothing. Every single thing that he's promised to do, he has failed at. Remember all the promises he made on the campaign trail? Remember build that wall? Now he's telling you guys that he's gonna fix the fences. Right? Is that what you chanted? Fix that fence. Fix that fence. Is that what you guys were chanting? I don't recall that. Okay, so that's one thing he didn't do. Repeal and replace Obamacare. They have failed twice. Okay? And this is his fault because he's the one who promised replace. And they still haven't been able to bring it. And he promised a whole host of things that were going to come with that health care. Okay, that healthcare bill. None of that was there. He promised everyone would be covered. Everyone wasn't going to be covered in that healthcare bill. Do you recall him saying those things? He said he was going to bring back jobs to the United States. We just found out that 33,000 jobs were lost. And now we all know that we can't really say necessarily, we can't really blame him because his budget hasn't come out yet. But if he's going to take credit for the jobs creation that we all know came through President Obama, then he better take credit for the fact that 33,000 jobs were lost. And that's the first time in 10 years or something like that, or 8 years. 7 years I think it is, that we've lost jobs in the country. President Obama also had to deal with hurricanes. How come Donald Trump, who had to deal with hurricanes, couldn't find a way to keep jobs? And the reason why people are losing jobs is because you are such a failure in how you are responding to these things. You're not a leader. Just quit. All of us know you don't want to be here. You never wanted to be here. You just wanted to win because you didn't want to lose to Hillary Clinton, but you didn't really want to be a president. You didn't even understand what it entails. You just went and took the position that you didn't really even understand. And now you got in there and you're way over your head. You have to be a lot smarter than what you are. I'm not saying you have to be the most brilliant person because George W. Bush was president. But you have to be a lot smarter than Donald Trump if you want to be president of the United States. He's unfit. That's why 24% of the country thinks we're going in the wrong direction. And then there was the North Korea situation. And here's basically a rundown of what he just did, tweeting about North Korea. This is his diplomacy, right? Or lack of diplomacy. This is how he plans to conduct foreign policy, through Twitter. This guy is just, he's so unacceptable.
On Saturday, U.S. President Donald Trump said that, quote, only one thing will work to solve the North Korean crisis, although he failed to explicitly specify what that one thing would be. The president tweeted, quote, presidents and their administrations have been talking to North Korea for 25 years. Agreements made and massive amounts of money paid. Hasn't worked. Agreements violated before the ink was dry, making fools of U.S. negotiators. Sorry, but only one thing will work. In recent weeks, North Korea has quickly escalated its nuclear posturing, despite condemnation and increased sanctions from the United Nations.
Okay, so here we go. He goes and starts tweeting about only one thing will work in North Korea. First of all, I'm sick of him. I'm so sick of him. He's always trying to get attention. He just does these things, and no one takes him seriously. Even North Korea is not taking him seriously. North Korea is just sitting there like, let's just make another nuclear weapon today. Anybody got any materials? They don't even care anymore what he says because he's such a joke. No one takes him seriously. The world doesn't take him seriously. All these other countries are just going about their business, continuing to conduct their lives. They don't care about what the United States says anymore until they get rid of Donald Trump. Other countries are making deals with other countries that used to go through the United States to make those things happen. Then you hear that Theresa May of the UK is saying she'll get into a trade war with Donald Trump. They don't care anymore. These leaders don't care anymore. So when he goes and starts tweeting about North Korea, only one thing will work. First of all, he doesn't have the authority to declare war on them without Congress. He doesn't have that power. Go read the Constitution at some point, Donald Trump. Pick it up and read it. It'd be a good idea to do it, considering you took an oath of office saying that you would uphold the Constitution. Do you remember that? Or were you deranged during your, oh my God, sometimes when I think of him. Anyway, so this is just embarrassing what he's doing and trying to threaten North Korea. We all know he's not going to do anything. He's just making noise because either something really bad is about to get reported about him, probably another Russia story, because we all know the Russia investigation is just heating up, and they're claiming that there's going to be indictments. And I'm not saying that he's going to get indicted because, there's never been a sitting president that's ever been indicted. But that doesn't mean that he won't be impeached. If there was criminal conduct, he's going to be impeached. That's just going to happen, whether it's now or it's later. I do not see Trump being the president, for the entire 4 years. I don't think he'll be able to endure it. It's going to be just way too much. He's too sensitive a person. He's a fragile human being, and he's so chaotic as a person. I just can't see him wanting to be president for 4 years. So that's basically his horrific week, a rundown of his horrific week. So many things went wrong. Let's go through them again. Puerto Rico, humiliated. Then we have the Tillerson situation, completely humiliated. You got called a moron. Let me say it one more time. You got called a moron, Donald Trump. And with the birth control situation, where he just angered basically women, which make up majority of the population. That was stupid. And then we have him fighting with late night show hosts, which just caused them to go back at him and drag him on Twitter. That's kind of embarrassing. Jobs report, 33,000 jobs lost. Not a good thing, Donald Trump. 24% of the country thinks you're going in the right direction. You're fighting with North Korea that's continuously doing stuff, and they don't even care about you anymore. So you've had pretty much a horrific week, like pretty much all your weeks. And we can all just anticipate that he's going to have more and more horrific weeks because he, like I keep saying, is a joke. I'm going to take a break. Alright guys, I'm back. And I said I was going to do 2 segments always. And the second segment is always going to be called How America. Alright, so this is what I want to talk about in my How America segment. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. Las Vegas. I just am appalled with the response from Americans in this country. We had, was it 59 Americans or 59 human beings were killed when a mad, raging lunatic decided that he was just going to go and start shooting people for no apparent reason. That story has already died. Literally. No one talks about it anymore. We've all just moved on. We don't care anymore. We'll talk about gun control, and I said this, I had a long rant after that happened because I was so emotional about it, but I'm still very emotional about it. We had 29 people that were murdered. 59 people that were murdered. Over 500 people were injured. And that story gets killed that quickly. A moment of silence. We'll have the moment of silence. We'll pray for the families. Maybe we'll donate for the first couple days. And then we'll all just go back to our lives like nothing even happened. Until the next tragedy. And then when the next tragedy comes, we'll all start praying thoughts and prayers. We'll be sad for a day or two. And then we'll just go on to stories about Donald Trump and whatever else is going on. And that'll be it. What kind of nonsense is this, guys? This is wrong. Family members lost their loved ones. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are now affected by this tragedy. It's not just those people that were there. It's all of us. Millions of us are affected. But thousands and thousands and thousands of people are going to be affected because the people who died, their family members, their friends, their extended friends, their cousins, everything. I mean, their acquaintances. Everyone that they know is going to be affected now. That's not something that should just be, brushed under. We talk about it for a couple of days, and then we go back to talking about Donald Trump. That's wrong, America. We need to get a conscience. We need to do more. We need gun control. And when people say gun control, let me just be very clear on what I mean by gun control. Yes, the Second Amendment does say that people have the right to bear arms and form a militia and all that other stuff. It does say that. I agree. But the Second Amendment did not anticipate this. The writers of the Second Amendment did not anticipate this. They did not anticipate semi-automatic and automatic weapons, people going and mass murdering people. What they wanted to do was protect citizens from a crazy government. That's essentially what they were trying to do. They did not expect everyone to just be carrying guns. They did not expect there to be thousands and thousands and thousands of gun deaths every year. We're the only major country in the world that has this problem with guns. We're the only major country in the world where you're constantly hearing about mass shootings. People are getting guns, and you can get guns in the black market. You can get guns everywhere. So the thing is, we have a problem with guns in this country, and we have to talk about it. And we need to do something about it. When 59 people are murdered in any place, I don't care where it is, that shouldn't be a 1 to 2 day story. That should be a story that's going on for as long as it takes to get some kind of reformation. And if there's not going to be any form of reform, then we need to keep talking about it until there is. But we cannot brush under the rug that 59 people just lost their lives and 517 or 528, whatever that number is. It's just horrific. All those people were injured. We need gun control. And what do I mean by that? I said I was going to say what I mean by that. I mean that we need to make sure that people who should not have guns don't get guns. We don't need people to have 900 guns. Why do you need 900 guns? If it's about protecting your own property, get a gun. Sure, you have one. Why did you need this guy need all those weapons? That's what I mean when I say gun control. I don't mean that you shouldn't be allowed to get a gun, but I do believe that people who are crazy should not be allowed to get a gun. I believe that people say, oh, these automatic weapons and semi-automatic weapons, you're not allowed to just get them. Yes, you can get them if you apply for the appropriate permit. We should ban semi-automatic weapons regardless. The only people who should be allowed to use them are the military. Period. And that's what we need to be doing. Those are the kinds of things we need to be focusing on. There shouldn't be this open carry. Stop the open carry. First of all, what's the purpose of the open carry? To just threaten regular citizens? Let you just walk around with a gun so people can feel uncomfortable? So you can be threatening the entire time? That's ridiculous. Open carry, stop it. That has to stop. Stop encouraging this gun culture. This gun culture is what led to the death of some innocent people who did nothing but wanted to enjoy a concert. So gun control now, gun control yesterday, gun control tomorrow. That's what we need to be talking about. I'm going to take a break. All right, guys, that does it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Candor Talk Live. I appreciate it. So don't forget to go to www.sylviaexpress.com. Check out our articles. I keep forgetting to post every single thing that I put out, but I'm going to try to make sure I post everything on there. I'm going to try to do Trump regrets every week. I said I was going to try to do on Mondays and Fridays, but it's just too hard. I do too much stuff. I have to still have a job. I have my mother, everything else. So I'm just still trying to balance all these things. It just gets difficult sometimes. But I thank every single person that ever listens to the show because it just feels good that people actually care to hear what I have to say. And as long as you like it, I'm going to keep on doing it. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you. Actually, during the week, I've been posting a lot lately. Videos. So you should just come back and check during the week because so much happens during the week and I'll listen to the mainstream media say something. I'm like, this is bullshit. I need to say something about this. So I'll get up and I'll talk about it from my own perspective. So check out, Candor Talk on YouTube. All right, guys. See you later. Thank you. Bye.